a patriotic dose of world-saving thrills. This $75 million science fiction disaster epic, directed and co-written by Roland Emmerich, was released nationwide on July 2, 1996, which was actually a day earlier than it was scheduled to come out, thanks to the high level of anticipation among moviegoers. The highest-grossing film of the year, its $817 million take, also made it the fifth most successful movie of the entire decade. With evocative taglines like "Don't make plans for August" and "We've always believed we weren't alone, on July 4th we wish we were," it's no surprise ID4 did well. The now infamous shot of the alien super laser destroying the White House in a massive fireball was the focal point of the film's extensive marketing campaign, which began with a dramatic spot during Super Bowl 30. The film's enormous success also influenced a slew of imitators, reinvigorated the dying disaster genre, and led to its own sequel 20 years later. When hostile extraterrestrials obliterate dozens of populated cities around the world, a disparate group of survivors converge in the Nevada desert to launch a worldwide counterattack during the titular holiday. The PG-13 rated story is absolutely overflowing with characters. There's around 200 individual speaking roles in this film, which has to be a record of some kind. The primary cast includes Will Smith, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonnell, Judd Hirsch, Robert Loggia, Randy Quaid, Margaret Collin, James Rebhorn, Harvey Fierstein, Adam Baldwin, Brent Spiner, James Duvall, Vivica A. Fox, Lisa Jacob, Mae Whitman, and Harry Connick Jr. Few are developed beyond their respective stereotypes, but at least they deliver their lines with sincerity. Goldblum is his typical Goldblummy self, bringing his quirky mannerisms and eccentricities to the part of an environmentalist satellite technician. Brent Spiner's manic and unkempt performance as an Area 51 scientist is great fun during his limited screen time. Loggia's gravelly voice is perfect for the authoritative general, while Rebhorn's sniveling portrayal of the Secretary of Defense works effective as his counter. Pullman, meanwhile, is excellent as the wartime president, showing resolve, patience, and uncharacteristic bravery in the face of insurmountable adversity. A bit too perfect and idealistic to be a compelling or three-dimensional character, it's his passionate and motivational speech during the film's final act that makes him the stuff of cinematic lore. A stirring and inspirational monologue you can't help but feel some patriotic pride for. Concluding his remarks by bellowing into the cold morning air, "We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today we celebrate our Independence Day." Of all the movies that have ever spoken their own title in dialogue, this might be my absolute favorite example. Especially since you've got that great shot of an amateur fighter pilot enthusiastically saluting at the end. But perhaps most notably is Will Smith in his breakout role, and the first of many box office hits for the charismatic actor. His youthful energy, tenacious attitude, and charming delivery make him an extremely effective protagonist. He also delivers the lion's share of the film's fantastically cheesy one-liners like, "I ain't heard no fat lady," and "I have got to get me one of these," and of course, "Welcome to Earth." He doesn't team up with Goldblum until the explosive finale, but their playfully contentious relationship is immediately believable and enjoyable. With frequent cutaways and inserts to over 70 mock news broadcasts created specifically for the film, we get a real sense of scale of the alien invasion. Because of this, Independence Day really feels like a worldwide crisis, even though the main characters are exclusively American. Despite its 2-hour and 25-minute runtime, ID4 is paced remarkably well, thanks largely in part to these half-dozen separate narratives that are constantly in motion.
See if you can fly that thing undercover. Hope you got an airbag.
An extraordinary, Oscar-winning achievement in visual effects, Independence Day features more miniatures and model work than any film in history, and due to the advances in digital technology since, it likely always will. The memorable destruction sequences were inventively created by turning the large-scale model cities on their sides and photographing a giant fireball in super slow motion as it rose towards the ceiling-mounted camera. Consuming every car, person, and building in its path, the result is a frighteningly realistic wave of death, even if Emmerich does take some geographic liberties with the location of the Empire State Building. For better or worse, this instantly iconic sequence sparked a persistent thread of movies obliterating famous landmarks. The aliens and their respective technology isn't particularly imaginative, however. Not only is their physical appearance stolen directly from Ridley Scott's Alien franchise, their motivations are explained only superficially. We learn very little about how they operate or why. So while this approach certainly helps reinforce the pro-human narrative, it definitely feels very one-sided and empty. The chilling orchestral score from David Arnold contains a patriotic march of steady drum beats, matched with deep, stabbing strings, while soft horns and flighty choir-like sounds echo during the softer and more dramatic moments. It's an auspicious effort from the young composer, who only had 3 films to his credit before this. But he curiously wasn't nominated for an Oscar, instead winning a Grammy for Best Instrumental Composition, joining a select few to win the latter without a nomination for the former. Admittedly, this is a very simple, emotionally shallow, anti-intellectual blockbuster that's detrimentally pro-American. But it's also endlessly quotable, totally thrilling, and damn enjoyable. Guilty pleasure or not, this is one of my all-time favorites and easily the greatest disaster movie ever made. A summer staple I watch every year on July 4th, Independence Day is supremely fun popcorn entertainment at its finest. ID4 is an amazing film. That does it for this quick excerpt, but if you'd like to watch full episodes of Movie Night and submit your own reviews to be included on the show, please visit the Jogwheel YouTube channel. My name is Jonathan Paula, thank you for watching, and have a good movie night.